Today, we're going to talk about the economic system, or we are going to compare the three economic systems to be specific. We're going to compare these three economic systems, which are the socialism, capitalism, and the communism. We're going to focus on how goods are being distributed and who are the owner of the goods in each economic system, the government or the individuals. So first, let's have socialism. So what can you say about the picture? So based from the picture, it says that a nation's wealth should be distributed to everyone in a fair way. But how can this be done? How can one nation make it possible? So socialism according to Andrew Vincent. According to Andrew Vincent, socialism finds its root in the Latin sociare, which means to combine or to share. So from this root word of socialism, sociare, which meant to combine or to share, we have already the idea about the first picture, why a nation's wealth is distributed to everyone in a fair way. Simply, because we are sharing our means of production or even harvest to the government and combine them to everyone else's product. In return, each individuals will receive an equal amount of what they need. In that process, a nation's wealth is distributed to everyone in a fair way, which I think not a good idea. Not unless each individual shares the same product, same effort as you did, but that's only my opinion. The reason for this is socialism is both an economic system and a political way of thinking where the workers own the means of production. Yes, workers own the means of production. Although the workers own the means of production, the truth behind that is ownership of the means of production is public rather than private. Still, the government and not the individuals is the center of the economy. In socialism, the government controls the fair distribution of the product produced by the workers. So example for this is you have two cows. The government takes them and put them in a barn with everyone else's cows, then gives you as much milk as it thinks you need. So socialism is the radical idea of sharing. So from that example, that two cows was yours, and the government took it and put together with other cows owned by different individuals also. And the product produced by the cows will be distributed to every individuals and family according to their needs. That's how socialism works. You share your means of productions to others, and in return, the government will give back to you the product that they think can satisfy the amount you needed. And then we have the idea of cooperation and social responsibility. It says that socialism promotes equality. Yes, there is equality. Like, for example, the fair distribution of nation's wealth or the fair distribution of products produced by the individuals. Based on the idea of cooperation and social responsibility, the idea is not just political, but also social and economic as well, which is true. And then we have the democratic socialism, in which people have the basic human rights and have some control over the government officials through free elections. Yes, indeed it is true from the word democratic. We can choose whoever we think the best and we like. We have free elections in which we choose people to be in a position. However, even though we have basic human rights, still the government does own the basic means of production and makes most economic decisions. We are still dependent on government decisions about economy. So in democratic socialism or mixed market economy, government owns major means of production and decides the item and the quantity to be produced. Socialism also has strengths and weaknesses. So here are the list of strengths of socialism. So socialism guarantees minimum standard of living. It guarantees to support each individuals on their basic needs, or the government supports individuals on their basic needs. Next is evens out differences. It makes people more equal. Being having the fair distribution of wealth of the nation Each individual are equally distributed with goods and products. And then workers enjoy full fruit of labor. Yes, because workers really receive the amount of the product that they need. And then full employment. And socialism can be the end of poverty. So yes, it is the end of poverty. We cannot really say that there is poverty in the system because each member of the society has a job or has work and is given an amount of product that they need. So no poverty will exist. And then next is production is geared towards use and not profit. And last, people have more control over their lives. So that's the advantages of socialism economy. And now let's proceed to the weaknesses of socialism. So weaknesses in socialism. First, it complicates government. It makes the government more complicated. And then it robs human incentives. Socialism took away the things that motivates or encourages one person to do something. So it robs human incentives. Too much government control. This is also the disadvantage of socialism. People and production are controlled by the government. And then, individual freedom is secondary to the state needs. There is no full freedom in each individual. Lastly is the high taxation and redistribution of wealth. Yes, there is redistribution of wealth. Because in socialism, government will take your means of production and will return to you the goods and the product which they think you need. So that's the weaknesses of the and the disadvantages of socialism economic system. And then next economic system is we have capitalism or market economy. So in capitalism or market economy, nearly all means of product are owned by the individuals and not by the state, unlike socialism in which government owns major means of production. Next, we have the capitalist economic efficiency. We have free competitions. Free competitions can mean greater efficiency and lower prices. We also have freedom to make profit also means investors risk loss. Now let's move on to the history of the capitalism. Capitalism came about after the Industrial Revolution. In capitalism, the rich got richer. Why? Simply because individuals, especially wealthy individuals, has a chance to own the means of production. Those who are rich and can afford will continue to be rich, and those who are poor will still have to strive hard. Next to it is great suffering by workers. In capitalism, the workers really suffered because they have to do everything in order to support their basic needs. Workers must work as much as they can because there is no government that will provide their needs because products are mostly owned by individuals. And then we have the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, which divides population in industrialized nations. Bourgeoisie means capitalists who own the means of production. According to Marxist philosophy, it is the social that came out to own the means of production during modern industrialization. Bourgeoisie are the owners of the product or the means of production, while proletariat, they are the workers who provides the goods. The workers or working class people or people who perform labor for money. In the theory of Karl Marx, the term proletariat designated the class of wage workers who were engaged in industrial production and whose chief source of income was derived from the sale of their labor power. And then next is Karl Marx criticized capitalism. Karl Marx saw capitalism as a progressive historical stage that would eventually stagnate due to internal contradiction and followed by socialism. Marxists defined capitalist as a social economic relation between people. In this sense, they seek to abolish capital. They argue that the owners of the means of production exploit the workforce. And then the two thoughts according to Karl Marx. Change would come through a violent and a bloody revolution, and the change would come through a peaceful means. And then we have the socialist change. Karl Marx says that an capitalist society will have to go through a series of changes. The nationalization, the welfare state or social programs, high taxation, and the common economy. So we are done discussing the first and the second economic system. The socialism in which government owns major means of production, and the capitalism in which products are mostly owned by individuals. So now let's have the last one, which is the communism. A political system in which the government owned all property and is ruled by one party with complete control over the economy. In this system, the states plan and directs all economic activities. So the state or the government controls all economic activities. They controls the flow and the distribution of products. No private property will exist. A system in which goods are owned in common and are available to all as needed. No private property will exist. Every person will work hard for the welfare of all. A system where all property is public and people work and are given things by the government according to their needs. People work for the good of the nation, from each according to his ability to each according to his need. Government decides how people are to be rewarded. So in economic efficiency of the communism is production varies from efficient to poor depending on government priorities. So example of communism. You have two cows. Your neighbors help you take care of them and everyone shares the milk. That's how communism works. There is no bourgeoisie and there is no proletariat. Everybody works for the welfare of all. So that's all. Thank you and God bless.